What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the internet where your cesspool is my jacuzzi. Hopefully, you guys can hear me okay. I always have to ask because my microphone does some weird stuff. Um, so today, and this is taken an unfortunately long time to get to because I've been so busy. Today, I'm gonna go over some of the statements from the autism community that were sent to me in response to Laura Owens' recent Medium post stating that she was just diagnosed with autism, and it explains everything. Now, that obviously was offensive to a lot of people. It was a hard read. I remember reading it and thinking like, "Oh my gosh, this is like one of the worst things of hers that I've read," which is saying a lot. Oh, hey, Drunkest Turtle, what's up? Um, Hi, everyone. Sorry, I just should have said that. Hi. But I got a lot of response to my Twitter posts and my YouTube posts where I was asking, if you've ever been diagnosed with autism, if you have a loved one who's been diagnosed with autism, or if you have some form of neurodivergence and you've struggled with that. I would love to hear your thoughts on this because obviously, like, it caused a lot of frustration for people who have lived with autism or have been caregivers for those with autism, and it really just kind of downplayed their experience, I feel like, and it painted them in a light where it's like, if you're autistic, like, you would do XYZ because she's done so many, things that are, well, they are actually crimes. And additionally, just used that now to kind of excuse her abusive behavior towards her, not even ex-boyfriends, just like people she went on dates with or gave a blowjob to. So, yeah. Hey, Jen, what's up? I'm going to give people a couple more seconds to get in here, and then we'll get right into it. What I want to do after this is go to Bruce's stream, because Bruce is going to have a stream tonight before Golden Bachelorette. So I want to read these statements. It's going to be a little heavy, and we'll talk about it. And then we'll go over to Bruce's stream for something a little more, lighthearted, I think. Unless Bruce wants to talk about something depressing, and I don't think he does. All right. Bruce says, even if she literally has autism, correlation is not causation. That's true. And Bruce, if you guys don't know this, like, Bruce is very good at explaining things from a logic perspective. And I don't mean that like colloquially. I mean like literally. Like, he has a whole management best practices video on logic, and you should definitely take a look at that. It's not a long video, and it's very informative. So that's something that you should definitely check out if you want to, if you're ever curious. Bruce, feel free to link that video in the chat here. John Bond, hey, what's going on? Ansu says, my teen has level 1 autism, formerly Asperger's, and bipolar disorder, ADHD, severe anxiety, panic disorder, agoraphobia, and PTSD. I didn't share details because I didn't have their permission. Fair. And like this person, if you guys have something you would like to share, please feel free. Even if you're watching this on replay, feel free to share your stories or your experiences or your loved ones' experiences in the comments. And I'm sure it would be good and therapeutic for everyone to be able to kind of come together and hear that and see that. So, hey, Kelly, what's up? Hey, Rob. Rogue Mama says you can follow this imbecile on X, and there's my profile. If you guys don't know, I did a recent video on Josh Sider and his fake transgender experiment, and Josh Sider then called me an imbecile on Twitter. So, but I'm kind of owning it, so it's fine. All right. So I do want to say, and there's Bruce's intro to logic right there. I do want to say that this, to me, sticks out not only because I got involved in this case and all that because of the mental health aspect and what people were saying. It also sticks out to me because I believe, and I only recently saw it described this way, I believe that this new like pop psychology phenomenon is like very dangerous. Self-diagnosis is very dangerous. I can't tell you that a provider didn't tell Laura Owens she had autism. I couldn't tell you that because I don't really know. What I do know is that she has been dishonest with her healthcare providers, and she has been dishonest about her medical records, and she has lied about diagnoses before. And so I don't really believe her. And why would I, right? Because this person has used, fake cancer, fake abuse, like fake domestic violence, stuff like that, to like garner sympathy and like punish men who didn't want to date her. So this is just yet another attempt to use an excuse to get out of having to take accountability for her actions. And ultimately, that's all people want. Nobody wants to see her die. Like, I know that she has claimed that. I know her lawyer has claimed that. Nobody wants to see her die. I don't want to see her suffer. Like, nobody wants to hurt somebody. But they do want to see somebody take accountability for their actions, because people who have gone through these things, they feel like their experience has been exploited. Sarah, hey, what's going on? Justice for Clayton says, hit the like button, kids. Yes, true. Rob says Laura Owens put her own credibility in question, and that's definitely true. Teresa, not filing charges is a good sign that they are being thorough and it's not a political prosecution. So I don't know a lot about how that process works, and I'm always going to be truthful. Like, if I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to tell you. Be like, I'm speculating here. Like, this is what I think. I don't know how that works. I couldn't really say what's going through the mind of the county attorney's office. This light is so bright. Hang on, guys. See if that's any better. There we go. It's better for me, anyways. Like Bruce says here, they always say people want to destroy her. No one wants that. And that's definitely true. So Rob says, we can tell the difference, Lauren, when you know and don't know what you're talking about. Well, I usually announce it, so I'm sure that doesn't hurt. All right. Panda Bear here says, my nephew has autism. Don't know which level, though, at ADHD. So we're going to hear from some more people here who either have been diagnosed with autism or have a loved one who's been diagnosed with autism. And sorry, I thought that was a text from my mom. And a lot of these people are, I am redacting their names, or I'm going to keep them anonymous. If I show a name or a username on here, it's because that person told me it was okay. I did go ahead and like make sure that that was okay. Because otherwise I wouldn't really, want to just assume that they're cool with that, given the litigiousness of the person that we are talking about. So yeah. Let me start out with something that was sent to me, let's say on Twitter. Or no, actually this came from Alcy. Let's share this one. Give me 1 second. And Alcy said I could use her name, so that's fine. I hope I'm saying that right. This is how I say the names in my head, so. Okay. Let me zoom in a little bit. Hopefully you guys can read that. I think the writing's pretty big, so. All right. So, Alcy says, hi, Lauren. So my son is 41. He struggled his whole life with being and feeling off or different. This was back when autism was not even on the radar of doctors from the time he was in 2nd grade. He was just smarter than all the kids, different than all the kids. His teachers treated him differently because he was bored in school. Basically, we took him to get tested for a program that would work for him at school because he was having a lot of difficulty, and he was tested at the test scores were very extremely high for his age. So they put him in a special class that motivated him more, challenged him more, and that helped a lot. Moving on to middle school, same scenario, same in high school. He would pass all the tests in high school. The teacher that he had for history just did not like the fact that he never studied, and he just passed all the tests. And this is like something that I've heard too, guys, and something that I've witnessed when speaking with the families of patients and stuff like that come through the ER. A lot of people with autism they're highly intelligent, This became a problem because she had a meeting with all of his teachers that he should not be able to graduate school, so he quit school. He always struggled. I found martial arts focused him, and we became focused on this all through his teens into adulthood. His social skills, notwithstanding being an introvert to the extreme, was who he was. Fast forward some years, the focus on martial arts led him to follow a path of training and fighting, and I was introduced to Muay Thai. Is it Muay Thai or Muay Thai? Somebody correct me, because I'm bad with pronunciation sometimes. I believe it was about 10 years ago. He always felt there was something just not right. One of his clients was a specialist in autism, And after talking with my son for some time in the training sessions with some of his struggles, he said, I believe you're on the spectrum. This explained a lot of things and put his experiences in perspective and how to deal with who he is. He's never, however, committed crimes because of it. Now, moving on to my grandsons, Jace and Maverick. Jace is 8 years old, and he was diagnosed with autism when he was 2. He has a therapist that works with him every day. He struggles in school. He is hyper-focused but functional. Maverick struggles a little more than Jace, but he is also on the spectrum. He didn't start talking till last year. He still has a little bit of a speech impediment, but the therapy has been working wonders. He is definitely more hyper-focused than Jace. My daughter has her hands full each and every day. It's not an easy existence with autism. I wish I could be closer to her to help her more, but I'm 3,000 miles away, and 2020 was hard. Really, really hard. And I think Maverick is not going to be able to go to school. He's going to have to be homeschooled because it's getting hard to get him to interact in school. I'm very angry that she's using autism this way. There are real people with experiences, and autism is not an excuse. So that's just one of our viewers here. I thank that person for sharing their experience with us. And a lot of this video, you're going to see some similar sentiments. And then in the comments here, while people are watching, they're probably going to see some similar sentiments of people who had, children or themselves were diagnosed and had struggles in school and stuff like that, especially with socialization. Justice for Clayton says autism doesn't cause little to no fetal DNA, stalking, diabolical lying, etc. Exactly. So her claim in the title of her article, I was just diagnosed with autism and it explains everything. It actually explains fucking nothing. Okay. Vicinator says, I bet money that if she admitted what she did and apologized, that every single victim would forgive her and wish her well. That's an interesting thought. I think they would, accept maybe her admission and maybe her apology. I'm not positive. I think they would accept that. I don't know about forgiveness because I'm going to be honest with you, dude. I don't know if I were Greg Gillespie or Mike Marraccini or even Clayton Echard. Like, I don't know if I could forgive her because she's been dragging some of these guys for years and like messing with their lives for years. So it's pretty crazy. Ziani says county attorney is up for re-election. Of course, she isn't going to announce anything before then. All right. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to pull up the next one, okay? Some people were okay with me using their first names, but not their last names, and some people wanted me to use their usernames, so I'll just let you know right now. Like, we're going to have a variety of that. These are all people that I, went back and forth with on Twitter, and some of them even showed me their personal pages just to prove to me that they were real people. I'm not concerned about trolls or anything like that. I think if you read these, you can tell they're all very authentic stories from unique individuals who have had their own experiences. So I think it's okay for, people to remain anonymous in this case when we're telling these stories. Okay. And I'll zoom in a little bit so you guys can read better, but I think that's pretty big. Because if I go any bigger, then it's going to be like hanging off the side of the screen. Hey, Omar. The Tilted Lawyer says, time to dive back into the yellow cesspool vicariously through Lauren. I feel gross. Well, I'm happy to make you feel gross. It's always the dream, isn't it? Okay. This next one is from Carolyn. She says, hi, Lauren. Wanted to respond to your prompt from one of your tweets regarding Laura's recent wild claim about herself. I've been working with folks with disabilities, especially those with ASD, for over 10 years. I was a special ed teacher for 4 years and currently work with college students with disability. I was also an in-home caretaker for a wonderful girl with multiple disabilities, including autism, for 7 years. I've been so incredibly lucky to get to spend so much of my life working with this population. Many of the individuals with autism that I worked with have changed my life. I have worked with those on all ends of the spectrum, from individuals who were nonverbal or had trouble with daily tasks to those considered higher functioning, as Laura claims to be. I have never once seen any person with autism exhibit any behaviors so despicable as those of Laura's. It's truly disheartening to me to see that she's blaming genuinely concerning and very intentional behavior on being autistic. It also feeds into harmful stereotypes about those on the spectrum. As someone who has dedicated so much of their time to being and working with the autistic community, I'm heartbroken and saddened by Laura's recent attempt to change the narrative and make herself a victim again. Everything she's done up to this point has been heinous, but this is really the straw that broke the camel's back for me. I really hope some justice is served because she is a dangerously unstable and unhinged person. Drunkest Turtle says not as gross as Lauren's obsession with your dad, Omar. That's definitely true. Um, guys, if you don't know, Omar has a daughter who is, I think, on the spectrum. I know Omar did talk about that a little bit in his own video after Laura's article came out. So I would recommend, hearing that straight from the horse's mouth. And if any of the mods want to share the link to Omar's stream where he talked about that, please feel free to do that in the chat. I would appreciate it. Okay. All right. So what I'm doing here, guys, is I have a whole document with these on, but I'm copy pasting them one at a time because it makes it easier for me to navigate. Okay. I can echo some of the sentiment in this one, like having worked with, you know, patients who were on the spectrum who came through the ED who were really struggling. It's very hard to see this kind of used as an excuse for what's going on. And it's always difficult when someone with autism it comes through the ED because it's like such a volatile setting, especially in RED. Like there's no like separate rooms. The beds are very close together. Sometimes they're rail to rail. And so somebody who is brought in by the police for mental health reasons because of like a symptom of autism or they don't really understand what's going on, they get frustrated, they act out, they're like maybe throwing or hitting things, and it's not because they want to hurt anybody, it's because like they don't know how to kind of manage those emotions and their impulses. But like when people get brought in like that, it's hard to see because they often have to be sedated, restrained. So it's really hard to see somebody who struggles with autism who's like not very functional, especially when they have to get cuffed by security and like their arms and legs are strapped in to Velcro and it's tied down to the bed rails. And so a lot of times people wake up, and I'm not talking about just autistic patients because like patients who come in very high or like they're violent, stuff like that, they have to have it too. And that's for everybody's safety, their own included. But people wake up in restraints like that and they're just like, what the hell's going on? And they start to really freak out again. And then it becomes kind of a vicious cycle of their, kind of acting out. And so they're getting sedated, but then they wake up and they're confused and they don't know how to deal with that. And so they're acting out and they get sedated again. And it's really hard to watch. It's a hard thing to watch. Amy Sheldon, thank you for the stream, Lauren. Thank you for being here, Amy. Ashes to ashes, red sweater, Lauren is smexy. Well, tomorrow is Halloween, and I'm not going to promise anything, but red red sweater Lauren might take on a new meaning. Hmm. Karen Carson, thank you for the 5. People with autism have difficulty lying. This alone proves Laura Owens is lying about having autism. Yeah, that's pretty sus. Oh yeah, Rogue Mama says Rosalind made red sweater Lorna ornaments. Rosalind's doing a fundraiser where proceeds go to the victims. So Rogue Mama, I think, posted the link above if you guys want to check that out. But yeah, like I said, tomorrow Halloween, I'll do a stream a little bit later at night, probably 8 o'clock, and red sweater Lauren's gonna come out in a big way. So, all right. Here's the thing about doing a stream by myself. I can't remember if I finished this post or did I just pull it up Did I just pull this up, or was this the one I just finished? Because I have a lot of them. My boss's son has low verbal autism, and they work hard with him every day to keep him through his difficulties. LO is insulting to every parent out there that struggles with helping their loved ones. Mhm. I don't think I read this one, so I'm going to read it now. Sorry, guys. The ADHD is going hard today. Okay, this one was for, and I'm going to butcher this. It's from Kikatron. Hello, repost on YouTube. I am the VP of an adaptive sports organization. Before being on the board, I volunteered with this organization for years. Throughout those years, I've taught with dozens of people with autism. All different levels of severity, from kids who are completely nonverbal to adults who live on their own and have jobs and can volunteer to teach others. They don't have much in common with each other, but them, along with all of the other cognitively impaired students I've worked with, are all the furthest thing from manipulative. While it's gross and offensive to blame your actions on autism, it's almost as offensive to think that she didn't even do a modicum of research on the condition before using it as an excuse for her behavior. Sorry if that's not what you're looking for, but I felt compelled to say this, as the students I've taught to ski over the years are so positive and honest, even if they had a bad day, and they don't deserve to be seen in the same light as Laura Owens. I agree. Hey, Reg Angel, how's it going? Okay, so we got something on the election here. According to the only poll results were September 3rd, showing Rachel up 2%. Well, I guess we'll find out soon, huh? All right. And there's a link to Greg's legal fund there, guys. If you could, feel free to donate to Greg's legal fund if you got anything extra and you're so inclined. I know he would really appreciate it. If you guys missed the stream the other night, Greg's court date is supposed to be on November 15th, and that is only a couple weeks away. So I'm sure he could use all the help that they can get. Okay. All right. This is from Lumpy84OH on Twitter. You can add me to the list of people disgusted by Laura's latest excuse for her atrocious behavior. I have a 19-year-old son diagnosed with autism at age 3. It's highly unlikely he'll ever be able to live on his own, but he gets the concept of truth versus a lie. Laura attempting to use autism to excuse her lies is a low I didn't see coming. It's a slap in the face to people who, like my son, require an advocate because he can't advocate for himself. This woman has privileges I could only dream of, and she can't bear to accept the loss and move on. She is truly disgusting. Thanks for the opportunity to sound off. You're welcome. I feel like if somebody's taking advantage of this and they're gonna, use autism as an excuse, it's only fair for people who actually have this experience to have a place to kind of vent and to share their thoughts. Hey, Angela, what's going on? All right. Denise says, Lauren, remember that strokes, altered mental states, possibly due to dehydration, Alzheimer's, etc., can require sedation and or restraints for safety issues as well as others. Thank you for calling it out. Also, UTI. UTI can cause psychosis and really irregular behavior. So that too. Thank you, Denise. Appreciate that. All right. This next one was from V Ambiguous on Twitter. My son, who is only 10, is autistic, semi-high functioning, verbal, and my favorite comment, looks normal. I have been doing a lot of research since he was 3. In my experience, with even very high functioning autism, some still call it Asperger's, they don't usually tend to be pathological liars and have the ability, if you will, to keep a lie going the way she has. I'm sure she'll fabricate some records. That's fair. I'll be interested to see who gave her the diagnosis. Now, before I read the rest of this, let's remember, like, Laura Owens had a fake medical record stating that she had ovarian cancer. So she could just as easily fake an autism diagnosis, not only just by Photoshop or whatever, but also What's to say she didn't just call a telehealth provider like she did during her pregnancy? She just went to a bunch of different providers doing the bare minimum and self-reporting things. So what's to say she doesn't go to a healthcare provider and self-report that she was diagnosed with autism, so that would show up on her medical record from there. So it would just show up in her history, right? It would just say autism spectrum disorder, and that's because she told them she has it. It doesn't mean they told her that. It doesn't mean she was ever diagnosed with it. It just means she said, "I have autism," and because when you go to a medical provider, why the fuck would you lie about that, right? So of course, like it's gonna go on the record. Angela Quinn, my little brother has autism. He's like a walking dictionary and too honest. Yep. Thank you, Sandra. Appreciate it. All right, guys. Back to the story here. Although a diagnostician at a school, for example, can give that diagnosis, you truly have to see a neuropsychologist, from my understanding. And that's right. So like it's you don't just like walk in somewhere and they're just like, oh, you have autism. You know what I mean? Like that's not how that works. This is very involved in like specialists have to be involved and stuff like that. I'm sure this is all over the place. No, you're doing fine. When I saw this last night, I was extremely bothered by it. And guys, like I said, some of these messages were sent to me in mid-September when the article came out, so it's a little dated. But I did ask, is it okay for me to still share this? So okay, parents I know with autistic children tend to be very overprotective. I get so nervous that my son will have issues with police or other authorities one day who simply don't understand him. She is bringing such a bad name to our children. They already have so many trials and tribulations without people thinking that our children should now be double looked at for pathological lies that include constantly calling the police and getting TROs. It makes me sick. Also, on top of that, what parent allows their child to do this knowing full well that she was making it up and then backs her up with all her lies and doubles down to the police and the court? Well, the lying runs in the family for sure. Okay. What parent allows their autistic child to manipulate people on purpose and not warn the police or the courts or the people around her? I'm so angry about this. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the YSL trial and ADA love concerning an autistic child she accused of malingering in her closing statements. I'm actually not, but I'm going to check that out. Um, the father knew the child was guilty of the crime and pleaded that they just put him in an institute because once he turned 18, he wouldn't make it a year at the Rice Street prison. The ADA said he didn't appear to really have symptoms. Shane passed away last December. This is what us parents with autistic children are up against. I'm literally crying as I write this because I live in fear for him every single day. I hope it is proven that she is once again lying. I have been following her BS since last November on Dave's channel. I was so happy when you started covering it, especially with your therapy background. I've been wanting to start my own channel, actually, too. One covering trials, the other Life with B, my son Bradford's nickname. Again, I apologize for the lengthy, all over the place DM. You did fine. Like this is a great story, not a great story. Like it's not a great story. It's, you know what I mean. It's great storytelling. Like it's great. You put it well. Let's put it that way. I think you know what I'm trying to say. Obviously, I'm not saying this is a great fictional story. No, because Laura's diagnosis is probably a fictional story, but not this. Stop talking, Lauren. All right. But I would encourage you to do that for sure. If you were thinking about starting your own channel, go ahead and give it a try. If you email me, it's laccurate, LACKURATE @gmail.com, and you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer it for you, and then maybe I could help you out somehow. I'd be happy to. Okay. Again, I apologize for the lengthy all over the place DM. I certainly have my own neurospicy issues. Thanks for asking people to send in DMs. If you have any specific questions, I would love to answer them. I'm better at answering questions than asking them. Also, seriously proud of your channel and keep up the great work you've been doing. Thank you very much. I appreciate you being ambiguous. And like I said, email me if you have any questions or anything, if there's anything I can do for you. Email, a lot of the time, guys, will get to me faster than DMs just because there are so many DMs that go to my message requests folder. So I don't even get a notification. But yeah. Connie Garvey says most adults diagnosed with autism these days are self-diagnosed. I've tried to get diagnosed for 4 years now. The UW Autism Center tells you to self-diagnose. That's what Ella did. Yeah, and I mean, I have my opinions on self-diagnosis, or like, there's doing your research and then going to a doctor and talking to them about it, and then there's going on TikTok and listening to people say, like, "I must have a touch of the tism," and then deciding that you have autism, right? So, when I say self-diagnosis, I'm mostly referring to people who view these, issues or illnesses as a trend. And they're just going ahead and saying, like, "This is my life. I have this problem. Please pay attention to me." You know what I mean? So, Bruce says Lauren's DMs are full of my antler photos. Use email. That's true. All right. Hmm. Justice for Clayton. Here's Omar's video on the autism claim, as well as him sharing about his daughter. Thank you for sharing that. Appreciate it. Good morning, Higgles. All right. Next, we have Kelly Steffi on Twitter, and Kelly said I could use her name, so that's fine. Kelly's got an interesting story. Okay. Lauren, I am writing to you because my son is 10 years old and is autistic. He is nonverbal, very smart. He also has cancer, real cancer, not the fake kind. He also has epilepsy, as well as he is legally blind. I loved your reaction video the other day. However, I would love to speak out about Laura and her false claims, and she will go explain away her actions. I am Liam's full-time caregiver, and I struggle with what she's done. I've been watching this from the beginning with Dave Neal. I was watching the episode when he brought you on for the first time, and I started following you. If you would like to talk to me, I'm more than happy to. I'm Florida, Orlando area. Please let me know. I'll happily send you my number. So Kelly is actually she's not like a public figure, but her story's out there because, as you can see right here, I have also been scammed by a woman who faked pregnancies of triplets, then twins, 2 separate times. We caught her. We took her to Dr. Phil. There's an entire story on it I would love to share with you. So, and then of course she said all the best, which I won't hold against her. Kelly was here in the beginning. Oh, there she is. Yeah, there's Kelly. So Kelly, I would love to hear more about the Dr. Phil thing. I know I can probably watch it, but I would love to hear what you have to say about it sometime. Maybe we'll have to have Kelly on. Just because I'm on a time crunch tonight, we won't be able to do it tonight, but sometime soon, hopefully. It would be fun to have Kelly on it and listen to her thoughts and have her talk about her experience and all that. So a touch of autism. That's what they say, dude. Like people on TikTok and people even like now on just like memes on Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that says they say stuff like I have a touch of the tism, and I'm just kind of like, dude, this is embarrassing. Like, stop. Uh it's not a trend. Like it's a real thing that affects like probably hundreds of thousands of people, and it's awful. So like it's hard to live with that, right? And so when people come out and they're just like, "Oh, I have a touch of the tism, silly me, haha." I'm just like, "No, fuck you. Fuck you." Um I don't know if it's Josie. Is it Josie? Am I saying that right? I watched those Dr. Phil episodes. Yeah, well, Kelly's here. Kelly's here with us. Auntie M says, "Thank you for sharing, Kelly." I agree. Thanks, Kelly. Jennifer, thank you. Curious appreciates you. Thank you all for sharing. Thank you very much, Jennifer. All right. But yeah, we'll have to get Kelly on soon because that'll be fun. I want that to be its own stream, though, because it's probably going to be a lot to talk about. Okay. All right. Our next excerpt is from Shrewis K. Daily dysfunction. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Daily dysfunction. I try to get tested, but my psychiatrist won't because of my age, apparently. So I've actually heard that before. And same with like ADHD and stuff. Like if you're older, they don't want to do that. But like if I were you, I would definitely continue to pursue that because that's not really fair for them to do or say. You know what I mean? So, I mean, plenty of people were just never diagnosed. So, especially with like ADHD and stuff. All right. From Shrewish K. Hi, Lauren. I saw that you asked about experiences with autism. I am the mom to a 29-year-old autistic woman who was diagnosed, finally, age 6. We tried to get answers at age 3, but there was little to no consensus. and the investigation was ongoing. I get it. I'm sure as the mental health professional you are that you know that autism can present in various ways. Definitely true. And that females usually present differently than boys. Yep. And acknowledging that, let me say that nothing in Laura Owens' behavior and actions looks like my daughter or any of her autistic friends. And before we continue reading this, I just want to say this is kind of the take or the approach that David and Laura have taken with a couple of these things, not just with the autism thing, but also with the fake pregnancy thing. They'll be like, well, autism looks different in everyone. How dare you tell me I don't have autism? I'm like, yeah, it looks real different in a liar, though. Um, and then also David, will say to women who have gone through both, miscarriage, healthy pregnancies, or pregnancies with complications, he'll be like, well, how dare you judge Laura? Every woman has different stuff. And, her pregnancy just looked different. Like, you can't judge her like that. Like, no, absolutely. Everybody knows what they're talking about. Like the people that have actually gone through this. So you need to shut the fuck up. Like, it's the weirdest gaslighting I've ever seen. Actually, the weirdest gaslighting I've ever seen was a comment on my YouTube channel the other day, but we'll get to that some other time. Oh, man. Oh, hey, Winks, what's going on? 100 plus need to do their job. Hit the like. Oh, thank you for reminding everyone. Would appreciate that, guys. It helps me out. I do have ADHD, but he told me autism testing is only available for children. Daily dysfunction, I believe we're actually going to hear from at least one or two people here who were diagnosed as autism spectrum later in life. So I don't think that you should give up on that if you really feel like that might be, if that's like consistent with what you're feeling. I feel like you should definitely try to get that checked out. But your psychiatrist is kind of a dick. Not gonna lie. That's ridiculous. I don't know, where do you live, like, vaguely? Are you in the US? Are you in Canada? Where are you at? Okay. Alright. Continuing on with Shrewish K. My daughter is very high functioning, of above average intelligence, community college graduate, drives and works as a pet/house sitter independently. She will probably always live at home, although she has a serious boyfriend, also on the spectrum, and would like to be independent the way she sees her younger sister being independent. On the surface, I see that both Laura and my daughter live at home, neither have traditional employment, and both care deeply about animals. That is where the similarities end. Claire could never practice the deception that Laura has done. In fact, she is more likely to be deceived by others. She only learned to lie as a teenager, and she is terrible at it. She simply doesn't have the theory of mind to organize and carry out arts and crafts. Paperwork deceptions, or the make appointments and cancel them deceptions, or the stealing of anything, much less other people's identities or pictures of sonograms. She confesses mistakes readily and is eager to come clean. I mean, the overwhelming consensus here, guys, is that people with autism are maybe a little more honest. Sometimes they're like too honest. You know, but they're not liars. You know what I mean? They don't make up stories like this. This doesn't even make sense with what Laura Owens is claiming. So, Rogue Mama says, I'm with Justice for Clayton. The like ratio is unacceptable. Oh, man. Okay. I really appreciate your accepting my friend request. I'm a 54-year-old teacher who only joined Discord to know I was going in on the Echard case. And I sent the request so I could DM you. If I'm being fair, I also really enjoyed the video with you and Bruce and Schnitzel, and y'all make me laugh aloud after a tough day at work. I go to bed early, so many lives I listen to. Sorry, I lost my place here, guys. While I'm driving the next day. Keep up the great work, and if you want or need a mom of an autistic person's perspective, I'm here. Laura's mom is appalling, and it's nothing like the autism moms I know. Not that Laura actually is on the spectrum. No way. Keep making content. I'm here for it. Thank you, Shrewish K, for sharing that. Give me 1 second to pull up this next one, guys. Okay, so I have a voice note here from someone. So, like, I asked a couple people to send in voice notes, but then I got so distracted that most people who sent in the voice notes, I couldn't hear back from them by today, and I wanted to make sure before I did the stream that I got permission, like, how do you call it? Like, re-permission almost. Like, do I still have your permission to share this? So I'm missing a bunch of those, but I do have one here that I can share. So I'm going to do that right now. Hang on. Okay, guys. I'm going to start playing this. And you can't see it on screen. You're just going to hear it. So please let me know if you can hear it. I'm going to play a few seconds of it, and then I'll start over if I need to. Okay. Let me know if you can hear that, and then I'll keep going. Gorilla BFF. Is Bruce doing his live after this one? Yeah, Bruce probably his stream should have just started. I don't know if he's starting it late. But we're gonna go over to Bruce's after. If you ever don't want to swear, just say honey mustard. Can you guys hear that clip? Let me play a little bit more of it and see. You didn't hear anything? Okay, hang on. All right. What I need to do is separate the video from the audio, though, so I can play it. Because I'm a genius. And didn't do that before. Okay, I think I know what I need to do. Yeah. All right. Now tell me if you guys can hear this, okay?
My younger brother has autism and was diagnosed much later in life. He struggled to make friends while in school, had difficulty picking up on social cues and humor.
You guys can hear that? Okay, good. So this is from Amy, and I'm going to play the rest of it now as long as you guys can hear it. Okay, cool.
And experienced bullying as a result. This continued into his later life, but his experience was exacerbated by PTSD and depression from his service in the Army. While my brother does struggle with these issues, he is very honest, even to a fault, and is not manipulative at all. To suggest that Laura's perjurious, abusive, and destructive behavior can be explained away by her autism is a slap in the face to those who suffer.
I mean, that pretty much sums it up, doesn't it? Thank you, Amy. I appreciate you sharing, and especially for sharing your voice. I know, like, with these kinds of things, especially because a lot of us need to remain anonymous, that it's difficult to kind of share your face or name or voice even, just because, you know, you never know what Laura and David are going to try to do. But Amy speaking up and sharing her voice with us I think that was a very special thing for her to do. So I thank you, Amy. I appreciate you. I don't know if she's watching this, but hopefully she will eventually know that this was shared. I did talk to her, make sure that she was okay with me sharing it. So thank you, Amy. Vegan Ambiguous, thank you. Oh, thank you for sharing your story with us. Vegan Ambiguous was one of the users who had shared with us before. All right. Let's go to the next one here. Okay. All right. This one's from Dorky Dane. Hi, Lauren. I figured I would tell you a little bit about my experience with autism and ADD. I was diagnosed late in life at 40 years old, and nobody, including myself, would know I was autistic. All my life I felt wrong. It was like there was a part of the puzzle I wasn't given, and things that come naturally to people that did not come natural to me. I've always had trouble understanding how people communicated with a single glance. I had an explosive temper and would start throwing things. If people touched me without me expecting it, I would turn around and slap them. I lost a few boyfriends like that. I didn't understand my own emotions or how to communicate them either. I hated holidays or going on trips with my school. I hated celebrations and so on because it broke my routine. I was bullied, and as a teen, I had a few suicide attempts as well. Nobody told me how to manage a house, so I didn't do it, and lived a bit like a hoarder. Nobody told me how to manage my money, so I spent them all the second I got them. I forget things that are not visual to me. For example, if I place a bill on a shelf or in a drawer, it's gone from my memory. I lived like that from 20 to 30 years old. Sometimes I was homeless or moving if I hadn't paid a bill, sometimes not. I often did not get paid because I was supposed to go to a meeting that I stayed away from because I was on benefits. And TBH, most thought I was the most lazy person in the world who just wanted money for free and didn't want to do anything for it. So around 30 years old, I met my hubby. We moved. I got routines, started an education, and slowly started digging my way out. I got a kid, then another one, and it saved me. Kids needed routine, but guess who needed it more? Me. I became a nurse's assistant working at a ward for people with dementia, and I thrived because dementia and autism are very alike in many ways. People with dementia need routine, very obvious body language, and a calm approach and clear communication. And suddenly I learned to read body language and small talk. It helped I could use the same lines over and over again because they forgot. My oldest daughter was diagnosed with autism when she was 5, and then it clicked for me. At 40 years old, I got my diagnosis, and the first year I felt like I was faking it, but gradually I have come to understand that I was not lazy or dumb. I was constantly stressed and overwhelmed. Now I like myself. I know my strengths and weaknesses. I make advertisements now because after a life with a stressed brain, it is tired and needs more rest and concrete tasks. Now I understand that to function properly, I need my routines. I need to minimize audio and visual stimulation, and know if I go out, I need at least twice as long alone after to recover. That's relatable. Oof. I know why I never recognized people and never knew how to find my way around because I am both face blind and have no sense of direction due to aphantasia. If you ask me to describe my husband's face without a picture, I cannot. I can tell you how much he weighs, what hair he has, how tall, and how he walks and talks. But if he dyed his hair, it's likely I could walk by him without recognizing him. I saw a lot on Twitter about how autistic people act when Laura said she was autistic, but autistic people are not the same. Nobody would know I'm autistic if I didn't tell them. I was trained to do eye contact, communicate, and fit in. Do I think Laura is autistic? Perhaps. The biggest part of me thinks she's faking it to use as an excuse. It's so widely used amongst criminals now. How often do school shooters claim autism as an excuse? We see that again and again. Autism isn't an excuse. However, let me tell you why I can see a world where Laura can be autistic and be in a situation where she has dug too far. Around 18 years old, I was without a job. I was 350 pounds because especially when stressed, I do not feel my body my body properly and do not know if I am full, nor did I like to leave my house if I could avoid it. I started lying for attention because I had a hard time maintaining friendships. I lied about being robbed and got a lot of attention for it. Fortunately, I had enough awareness to say I didn't see the one who did it because I didn't want anyone caught and punished. As such, I can in some ways identify with Laura. The thing is, I was pretty quickly charged with lying to police, and fortunately, I got off with a suspended 30-day sentence. I think that saved me from doing it again. Laura has had no consequences thus far. In fact, her family condones her actions. However, no matter what, her actions are horrible and she should be punished. I think both her and David are lying through their teeth. As for me now, I am medicated for my ADD and have set a routine and do brilliantly. For the first time in my life, I do not swing between depression, stress, and rage. Most importantly, I accept myself. Best regards, Dorky Dane. So that's an interesting perspective, guys. Somebody who can kind of understand the lying or dramatization aspect, but also thinks like this person needs to be punished or, they won't do it again. So I thought that was an interesting read. So thank you for sharing, Dorky Dane. Kelly Steffi's talking about the son here. We just shared Kelly's story. It took 3 specialists and tons of hours of evaluations my husband and I both filled out to get his official diagnosis. Jennifer says those who are innocent don't normally go around trying to find reasons for their behavior. Yeah. King Salmon says people with autism can lie. I've yet to know one that carries on the lie for years. Yeah, and then also goes and fakes medical records and shit. So I think, given the opinions that we just heard from King Salmon, sorry, in the chat here, and then also from Dorky Dane in the story here is that yes, like people might lie, they can lie for whatever reason, but I'm thinking it doesn't go as far as like faking medical records and shit like that. Like I think that is a whole other issue, not related to autism at all. So, all right. Justice for Clayton says, I truly believe Laura Owens will face some consequences for her actions. Well, I certainly hope you're right. Because it sounds like from someone here, even if Laura does have autism, she should be held accountable because that's what stopped this person from doing it again. And thank you for sharing that. I know when we like make mistakes and stuff, it's hard for us to kind of, and I'm just speaking in people generally, it's usually hard for us to kind of come forward with that and just accept it and move on. But it sounds like Dorky Dan has been doing her best. She's getting treatment and she's doing better. And I appreciate that. I appreciate her sharing this opinion, even though it's different than what we've heard so far, but it is, I feel like, valid. So thank you. All right. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to pull up the next one. Okay. This next person asked to remain anonymous, so I'm going to do this. Okay. This is from Anonymous. My brother was diagnosed at a very young age. This is like the 90s. I remember sitting in a room with a two-way mirror with my mom while the doctors did tests on him and the other kids. I remember sitting there at the time not fully grasping the reason why, but amused as the doctors tried to conduct their testing and failing miserably. See, one of the kids turned off the lights. My brother figured out at that point that the mirror was more like a window, and he could see us when the lights were off. The next time they went off and the lights turned on again, he was on the table waving at us, and the doctors were trying to get him back in his seat. We were told at the very beginning he would not be able to hold work. He may not talk well. He will not have a sense of humor. He will struggle making friends. So my mother did her damnedest to make sure he had the same opportunities as everyone else. Good mom. He went to summer camp. He took part in school activities. Sure, he had his moments. He cussed out his French teacher once for a pop quiz and called his EA an asshole. That's kind of awesome. But he partook in his life growing up. Oh, man. My mom faced so many barriers to make sure he got the best that he could in life. When they were choosing his high school, they went from school to school and chose one with a great program for kids with autism. Everyone was for it. His EA at the time, not the asshole, my mom, and his teacher. The VP was on board too. But when the meeting with the board happened, the VP flipped on her, choosing a remedial school for kids who don't do well. Why? Well, it's not like he's going to be a doctor. Those were barriers he faced growing up. He had been diagnosed young, early 90s, with autism, and for him it required constant appointments, constant contact with doctors, teachers, specialists. Today, sure, he lives at home with my parents, he volunteers in the community, he works a job. He's the funniest fucker I know. For example, once he completely interrupted a conversation and went, "Hey, your stupid is showing," because he wanted me to stop talking, and I wasn't expecting it, and I just fucking died laughing. What would I like to see? I'd like to see Laura provide proof of this diagnosis. I know, given everything this whole past year, the court did, it'll be difficult to prove and have people believe. I always want to give people the benefit of the doubt, but knowing this case, it'll be difficult, at least for me to change my mind. I think she's lied all along, and that this is just another one, and for shame for using a community for her own benefit. And I think a lot of people feel that way. Thank you for sharing that with me and with us. Jennifer says, I truly enjoyed the show Atypical on Netflix. I haven't seen it yet. I've heard it's pretty good, though. Sarah Dawn says, friendly reminder, if you ever get caught in negative feelings triggered by LO, remember we have truth on our side, justice is coming, and we have a whole community here supporting each other. That's true. Just like think about how many people shared their stories here, and we're not even done yet. And also how many people are here listening. I appreciate all of you for being here, and I'm sure the people who are sharing do too. I felt it was important to provide an outlet for these people to kind of share their stories in response to what was put out into the universe when Laura Owens wrote that Medium article. So I just feel like there's a lot of therapeutic benefit to people sharing their statements and thoughts here, even if they're differing. I know some people are saying like, no, people with autism don't lie and stuff like that, and then we had somebody with experience who has autism who said they did lie and they did get in trouble for that. So it's kind of interesting to hear everybody's perspective. So Lauren, you can share Liam's page too if you'd like. Yeah, can you DM me on no, you know what, you already did. Hang on. Let me find it. So Kelly, the one who was involved in the Dr. Phil stuff, her son Liam, that she sent us a story about, has a page, and I'm gonna look at the link that she sent me. Hang on. I just realized I was on the wrong account. My bad. Okay. There she is. Okay. So here's the page for Kelly's son, Liam. Liam's Legacy. I have already liked it, or I'm following it. And she's got lots of posts here. So if you want to support them, I'll put that link right here in the chat. Give me one hot second. There we go, guys. I just posted the link in the chat. Okay. All right. This one is from Carice Heitzman. Okay. Hi, Lauren. I'm a woman on the spectrum and have friends and kids of friends on the spectrum also. I'm so angry that she, Laura, has made this claim and is trying to use it to explain away her horrible behavior. People with autism are wildly varied, as you know. We are people with lots of different difficulties and challenges we face daily. A lot of women, especially above a certain age, are high masking because we so desperately want to be normal and seen as normal. I can definitely understand that. I have been pregnant. I was scared and terrified. Whether I was scared or not, I would never have avoided an appointment to make sure that my baby was healthy and that everything was going okay for both of us. As soon as I was aware of anything off or strange with my pregnancy, I was on the phone with my doctor's office, or I was in labor and delivery. I suffer with severe social anxiety at times, and I am a true introvert. I've canceled dinners with friends. I've skipped friends' weddings because I had an anxiety attack. But when it is really important, you better be damn sure I would move hell and high water to make sure that my baby was okay. And before we read the rest of this, I want to point out that what this person is saying is, obviously true for almost every mother that I've heard from. Like, if you're in a high risk pregnancy and you need to go to an appointment to make sure a baby's okay, you're not texting a fucking telehealth line, which I honestly feel like, in my opinion, it's more likely that Laura Owens was just texting herself or a friend or a fake number and like saying like, oh, I'm having a miscarriage or whatever, so she could use this proof later on. And her dates don't line up. So yeah. But it sounds like most people, no matter what they're going through, would go to these appointments. And one thing I've noticed in common with these people who have gone through these pregnancies, especially high risk ones or, anything abnormal, is like they would definitely, like go to the doctor also. But if they did have a miscarriage, they were like very sad about it. It was a painful experience. It was a very different experience than what she's describing. So there's just a lot here that kind of points to Laura lying. Okay. I don't believe for a single solitary second that she is on the spectrum. I absolutely believe that this is just another one of her lies. You probably know that people on the spectrum can be very black and white, very literal, and big rule followers. These are all things that Laura Owens is not. That's true. I am so offended by her actions, excuses, and her claims. I still don't believe she has ever had PCOS either. Just having an imaging scan that shows you have cysts on your ovaries doesn't mean you have PCOS. Guess what? Women get cysts on their ovaries every month before the follicle releases the egg. It's normal. Yeah. Sorry for my long rant. Thank you for listening and for using your voice and your platform to give people a voice that otherwise don't have one. Love you, Lauren. Sincerely, Carice Heitzman. P.S. I'm a big Wentworth fan too. Thank you, Carice. I appreciate you. You're awesome. Thank you for sharing with us. And I'm glad you like Wentworth. Guys, there's going to be a Wentworth Con in Nashville in January if anybody wants to watch the show and then come hang out. Hey, Bales. Hey, what's up? What's going on? Oh, there's Carice. Did I say that right? Is it Carice? Carice? If not, everybody say thank you to Carice for sharing her story. We appreciate you very much. So, I love seeing people who have shared their stories to be in the chat here. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Sweet. I got it right. Thank you, Greg Angel. Hopefully you'll come back to us. Grandkids Taxi, how you doing? Life is hard enough to get through, especially if you have any health issues, without the Laura Owens of the world making them trivial to benefit their own agenda. It's definitely true. All right. Let's see what we got next here. Okay. Now, this person told me to use this name. It's not their legal name, but like, people need to remain anonymous. So this is from Natalie. Natalie, who I've been, kind of talking back and forth with a long time now, and is very supportive. Justice for Clayton, Lauren, you're a rock star, giving people the opportunity to speak out about the terrible things Laura does. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. And thank you, Winks. I have very cool mods. And thank you, Teresa, and Rogue Mama, and Rob, and Reg Angel, and anyone else who's here. Bruce, too. And then IT Goatee, who sometimes pops in. And I'm sure there's someone I'm forgetting, but anyways, Natalie says, I have a 12-year-old son who was diagnosed at 2 with autism, and I knew that I was going to be fuming with rage before the stream started, but I couldn't have known just how angry and upset I would be hearing her try and use autism as an excuse for her illegal, disgusting behavior towards multiple men and several other folks throughout the last decade plus. Seeing Bruce drop F-bombs when he's usually so composed just confirms how putrid Blowen's newest fraudulent charades are. I so wish I could have come on to discuss how no autistic person with a true diagnosis from a real and practicing doctor would behave the way Laura has. Deception and manipulation aren't in the autistic handbook. Lying doesn't occur to them. Ugh, my hands are shaking so much from my pissed offery. I've never heard someone say offery like that. That I can barely type, so I apologize for any grammatical errors. But anywho, you said to reach out to you if you had a personal experience with autism, and I definitely do. I've learned so much about it over the last decade or so, and I'm actively in my son's ABA therapy sessions, and I would like to think I have quite a bevy of experiences to share. If you would like to hear anything, I'm happy to help in any way I can. All the best, Natalie. All the best again. Oh, man. I remember that because Bruce, when I would bring Bruce onto my streams, it was normally for Bruce to help me chill out because I'm like swearing left and right and I get really angry. And then Bruce all of a sudden is just like losing his cool and just like swearing left and right. Like, oh my gosh, that was a heated stream. All right. We got a few more, guys. All right, here we got our buddy South Florida Thrifter. aka fellow Team Florida pillow fighting champion. Hi, Lauren. I have a 17-year-old son with autism who attended an autism charter school in Miami when I had him. He went with his father when he turned 16 and goes to a regular public school in Washington state, but we talk every day. He is considered high functioning because he is on a reading level with his grade, but he is emotionally probably about 9 years old. Me too, lol. I'm freaking pissed what this bitch is doing. I live in complete and utter fear that my sweet son, who doesn't even fathom what lying is, will elope and get attacked by cops and, of course, freak out from lights, sirens, yelling, or anybody being mad. I mean, that's totally fair. I get it's upsetting to me, especially like when officers bring in people who like suffer from autism in fucking handcuffs to the ER because I'm like, clearly, like we're just not sending out people who know how to handle people with these kinds of issues, and it's putting them in harm's way basically because it's like triggering them to act out, and not because they're trying to hurt anybody, but because they don't understand a lot of the time what's happening. They don't really know how to deal with it. All of a sudden, these strangers are coming and restraining them with handcuffs, dragging them away from their parents or families into the ER. And then when they're in the ER, they're around oftentimes a lot of volatile people who have come in after using drugs or Molly or something like that, who will scream at other patients. They'll attack other patients. And you know, a person with autism who's been brought in is doing the best that they can, especially if they're lower functioning. They're doing the best that they can, but being in that environment where everything is so triggering, it's awful. So yeah. Snitzel Ninja, what's up? Appreciate you, Lauren, for covering this, and appreciate all the individuals who shared their stories. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you. All right. Okay, so I got a couple of messages from this person here, and one of them was from like the very beginning when I asked people about this experience, and a couple of them were for more recently, but this is from the same person. So I'm gonna go ahead and read all of it. Okay, so Twitter user, and I've redacted their name. Hi Lauren, my name is redacted, and I live in Scotland. I have high functioning autism, and I am beyond disgusted at Laura Owens deciding to jump on the neurodivergent bandwagon. Having autism does not make me want to fake pregnancy and trap men by using pathetic dating contracts and lying to a judge in court. She doesn't sound like one of us. She doesn't act like one of us. She isn't smart enough to be one of us. I very much doubt that Laura has any form of actual mental condition beyond narcissism. I've been watching on YouTube since the recent court case before Judge Mata. I send best wishes and hope that this woman finally gets her comeuppance. Kind regards, redacted. And then I recently messaged this person this week and was like, hey, are you still okay with me sharing this story that you sent me? Because I wanted to make sure, And they had some more to say. So, hey, Lauren, so I've been thinking about all this. I'm socially awkward and struggle to read the room. It's taken me decades to get to the point where I can acknowledge that there are times I need to take a step back. For example, there are times at work when I will ask my manager to speak to a colleague, not to get them in trouble, but because if I say the thing, it may come out wrong. What's in my head and what I actually say can be two different things completely. I tend to be blunt, almost to the point of rudeness. That's rarely my intention, but it can come across that way. And I've heard a lot of people say that has been their experience. Like they don't mean to come across the way that they do. It's just that's what's natural to them, and other people take it the wrong way. So, all right. When I'm in a relationship, it's all or nothing. I will go out of my way to do something for my partner for the pleasure of seeing their happiness. It's not in me to play mind games with my partner. If I'm with someone, I give and expect total honesty. That can lead to me being taken advantage of, but I can't be any other way. Loyalty is something that I value. My trust, once broken, cannot be regained. I've never been pregnant nor wanted to be. I respect that many of my friends are happy as parents, and that's fantastic. But those women had real pregnancies. The sonograms were real, the babies were real, and are amazing young human beings. What value does Laura assign to the mystique of pregnancy? I'm not sure that she sees it as anything other than a tool. I'm sorry for her. Some of my friends have had heartbreaking miscarriages. My mother had one ectopic pregnancy, 4 miscarriages, and me. I'd prefer to remain anonymous. Kind regards, redacted. All right. Thank you for sharing that with us. I appreciate you. Okay. We got just a couple more here, guys. Dublin comes to Boston. Thank you for the 5. As a single mom of an Asperger's ADHD child and bipolar child, LMO hurts my kids. I'm sick to my stomach. Well, thank you for being here with us and for sharing that with us. I appreciate you. Thank you for sharing your stories, everyone. Thank you, Lauren, for letting the autism community be heard. Thank you, Ansu, for joining us. Appreciate you. Documentaries by category. Thank you as well. They said, thank you so much for covering this topic. I'm a psychologist, and this has become quite a problem. For the last several years, there's been a massive influx of folks claiming self-diagnosed ASD. I would love to pick your brain about that here. I'm going to put my email right here if you want to email me, because I kind of want to dive into that topic a little bit more later on, because I think there are a lot of issues with the upcoming generation and their self-diagnosis that is dangerous. So if you could email me that, I would love to talk back and forth. I won't, share your emails or anything, but okay. All right. This is from Anonymous on Twitter. I was diagnosed with ADHD and medicated for it for as long as I can remember. I hated taking my medication so much. It made me feel like a completely different human being. It never fixed the behaviors they were trying to address either. I was always very high energy. My sense of humor was very dark and came across as weird. Did I write this? I couldn't finish simple assignments because I would spot a weird formatting issue on worksheets and would obsess over it to the point where I would literally rewrite the worksheet to get it done on time. I had so many questions that teachers thought I was disrespectful. If Jack and Jill went up the hill to get a pail of water, why didn't they have a sink? Glasses. What's a pail? How tall was the hill? Etc. Yeah. I spent most of my childhood knowing I was wrong and hoping that the Ritalin that made me feel dead inside would make me not feel that way eventually. I remember watching Power Rangers, and when they had their swords, I realized that's what I feel like. I'm operating this giant machine that is me, but the controls are wrong, and there was no manual. By 3rd grade, I just cried every day and couldn't describe why. Our school counselor saved my life. She pulled me out of class and told the teacher she needed me to help her with something. The teacher said, "You don't want his help, trust me." Wow, that teacher's a bitch. Which made me cry in front of the whole class, who laughed, of course. The counselor looked Miss Shimshak, still remember her name, in the eye and said, "You have no idea what this kid can do." We sat down in her office. I thought I was in trouble. She assured me I wasn't. She and the nurse shared an office, and she sort of had started keeping an eye on me from seeing me get my lunch pill. She said, "You don't feel right, do you? I don't mean sick. I mean you feel like there's something wrong with you that makes you different from the other kids. Is that true, or am I wrong?" I just lost it. I couldn't comprehend that someone else identified it, much less was able to word it to me. That counselor was the first person who identified that I was autistic, without ever talking to me. My parents didn't even know what that meant, much less my 80-year-old pediatrician. If she wouldn't have stepped in and worked with my parents, got the ball rolling on therapy, coping strategies, the right medication, etc., I would not have lived beyond 5th or 6th grade. In retrospect, I can recognize that the seeds of suicidal ideations were already planted and growing when she spoke with me. I have thanked that school counselor every time I have accomplished something or hit a milestone. I'm a PsyD now, and she was at my graduation. I thanked her and gave her all the credit when I spoke. Oh, that's a great story. The relevance. Using autism as an excuse for being a creepy stalker that ruins lives for fun is deeply offensive. Her I Googled autism symptoms description of why she is autistic is vague, generalized, and a fictional retelling of something that ruins lives and even takes them when not recognized. Much like lying about sexual assault and domestic violence, lying about autism takes away from every single person that has to carry the burdens that come with it. And that was a powerful story. Thank you very much for sharing with us. I know that person wanted to remain anonymous, but thank you. We appreciate you. King Salmon just read my mind. TikTok is harming this young generation with romanticism of these various neurological diagnoses. Yeah, it's scary, dude. It's so scary. I so appreciate this voice. Thank you, Lauren. And thank you especially to the person who wrote that story. Not that story, but that recollection of their experience. Because these are real people who have gone through this for real in real life. And I know that, some people here have struggled with, being later in life and possibly having autism and having concerns of their symptoms and stuff like that. So I hope this is somewhat encouraging to these people, that if they feel this way or if they've felt misunderstood because they have these struggles, these symptoms, that they should, pursue diagnosis, talk to their doctor and see, hey, I feel like this might be what's going on with me. Can you help me figure it out? And then, if it's not that, then fine. But if it is, then I feel like it's really important to go get that looked at. Kikatron, thanks for sharing these stories. Lauren, thank you. Everybody, please thank Kikatron. I might have said that wrong again because she shared her story earlier on in the stream. I read it, but we appreciate you for being here. Hey, Maddie, what's up? How you doing? Wink says, wow, yeah, that was an amazing one. Yeah, I really liked reading that. I appreciate that. I mean, I really like reading all of them, obviously, but there might be one or two more. Is it one or two? Hang on. I luckily had a lot of people reach out, so it was pretty cool. Let me make sure I got this one. Hang on. Okay, I know I did read that one. If I missed your story and you sent it to me, please let me know. Because I will, do a community post and shout that out. Because a lot of people did send them in, and I tried my best to kind of gather them all, but I have a little bit of a scatterbrain, guys, and so sometimes I miss stuff. But I think I got through all of them. If not, I really do appreciate you guys sharing. So obviously, if you did share with me and I forgot to share it here, or I left it out by accident, please tell me, because I would love to share your thoughts and story with everybody. So, yeah. Hey, Sunshine, what's going on? So, I know that was a little heavy. If anybody else has any thoughts they want to share, please let me know, because it can be hard to listen to, it can be hard to read, it can be hard to write. So like the people who shared it probably had some emotions come over them. I know reading it back, it's like I'm good at like keeping my face on because I'm so used to hearing stuff like this all the time, but like it's kind of like exhausting in a way. Because it's like taking I am a person who takes on the emotions of the people that I'm trying to help. So, and I'm trying to be better about that too, but I am what I am. You know what I mean? I'm imperfect like anyone else. So, let me see. Oh yeah, there we go. Our friend Brucey is on doing his he's doing his hangout stream, and that's going to be a little more lighthearted. I know we all just listened to some pretty heavy stuff. As wonderful as it was to listen to all that, it could be good to have a laugh. So why don't we go hang out and talk to Bruce or whatever. Lauren, my daughter has opted not to get diagnosed for two reasons. One, it takes about 8 years with state funding, and two, the idiots online making it cringe. Yeah, dude, that's so tough, man. That's so tough. Autism cures epilepsy. Isn't that accurate? Yeah. All right, I'm gonna redirect you guys to my buddy Bruce. Thank you everyone for sharing. If you're watching this on replay, please feel free to share your stories in the comments. I would love to hear from you. I just want to make sure everybody has their space to kind of share their thoughts and stuff like that. So, Karen Carson says, based on the multitude of stories as well as my experience in healthcare, I feel strongly sure that Elo is a liar and does not have autism, pregnancy, or a decent lawyer. All right, thanks everybody. Let's go hang out at Bruce. I will be there in the chat. Do me a favor. When you get redirected over to Bruce's stream, send a bunch of bacons in his chat and let him know that I sent you, and I will be there. M169, it's okay. You can watch it back. You can watch it back. But thank you for being here. I appreciate you. All right. Bye, everybody. I will see you over at Bruce's. Don't forget to spam him with bacon emojis. Thanks, everyone who shared. And then if anybody else wants to share, please do so in the comments below. I appreciate you.